Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Speed Build Saturday. Today we're back building again in Mount Komorebi. Where we built a small sort of condo last time, we are building instead a huge Japandi-style cabin this time around. And even though I'm building it on a greener lot right now, I plan on moving it to the big mountain lot in Mount Komorebi later on because I actually want to move our Occult Baby family into that house because family's just getting a little bit too big, so this is actually going to end up being a huge house, and because of the way I want it to be laid out, I can't exactly do a basement the way I would normally want to because I want to be able to move all the terrain the way I want to. I want to have a water feature in the back, and I just won't be able to do that the way I would like if I have the basement in sort of like levels for the house, so I'm doing it this way instead. I just found out a little too late that I should have done this level before I built the ground level because I can't just plop one on top of the other, which is really silly. Now with the levels of the house set up properly, I can start working on the deck, and then after I have this big deck in the back finished up, I'm going to go ahead in with the terrain tools again and open up that bottom area a little bit more just so that we can have kind of like a patio space down there whenever I get to it. But for now, I'm just going to put some supports on these couple of porches. And then I really wanted most of this lot to be walkable for your Sims, so you're going to see me popping in and out of the terrain tools pretty often to make sure that there's both like livable space that you can put furniture on, but also that the Sims can still walk everywhere without having to take stairs. So please bear with me while we build this beautiful little cabin in the mountains. All right, and with the downstairs patio put down and everything, I'm gonna go ahead and bring out a waterfall from Debug to start working on the water feature. And it doesn't line up exactly perfectly in the end, but it's close enough for me to be fairly happy with. I'll just add a little bit more debug to where the waterfall and the stream meet, but I'm moving in with some more debug rocks, and I actually missed recording because I had stepped away to eat dinner, so I actually landscaped the rest of the top of the waterfall off screen, I suppose. Now with the bare bones of the waterfall done, we can move back to the final part of the floor plan, which is the upstairs bedrooms. I have a bathroom and then one more living room up here. I am actually pretty sure that there's a living room on every floor of this house, which might be a little overkill, but honestly it's still pretty cozy. But after that we can move on to the roof, which thankfully the house that I looked off of had a much simpler roof than a lot of the other houses I've done so far with my uploads, so that was really great and a lot less stressful, that is for certain. After throwing down some stairs, I'm going to move on to doing some coloration for the outside of the house. So things like roofing, the roof trim, I want to have some stone, which ends up being base game. And then I end up going with an outdoor retreat wood paneling because it just kind of looked the nicest. It was the vibe I was going for the closest. Alright, with the walls all dolled up and the chimney done, I can move on to the windows and doors for the house and get it feeling the kind of way I want it to be, which I want it to let in a ton of sun, and I want you to be able to see the water from basically any of these back windows. And then moving up front, I picked kind of a nice open wood door with nice big windows next to it, and then I actually flip back and forth between whether or not I want white or brown windows, like pretty often in this build before I end up settling on just going brown because it looked better overall. And then the house I was looking at actually had these stone sort of edgings that you can't really replicate in The Sims without putting an entire block of space. So I am going in with debug walls, and then moving back to the back, I started leaning towards brown for around the windows. So I actually went ahead and changed all the swatches off screen because you guys don't need to watch me change 20,000 swatches, you know? All right, with the outside mostly done, you know, to the basics, we can move on inside and start working out where we want to put everything. I'm throwing down the beds just so I know where the bedrooms are for future reference. And then I'm going to start working on the first floor, throwing down the same flooring that we have outside on the decks. And I put down some slate tile in what's going to be a greenhouse room. And then moving on into the greenhouse, I put down a ton of bee houses, a bug house, and then a ton of the standing planters. And you have so much gardening space in here, it's kind of ridiculous. But it's gonna be great since it's supposed to be up in the really cold mountains. So you'll be able to grow stuff all year round, and a ton of it at that. But now I can start working on the master bedroom, and then this room ended up being like a nice dark brown and blue sort of color scheme, and I wanted to make sure that there were enough laptops for my growing family to use. So mom gets one all to herself, and she gets a walk-in closet that leads into her master bathroom, which ends up being like a baby blue and white sort of color scheme, which I think just kind of feels like walking on a cloud. Like, I really love it in here. And then back out into the living areas, I start doing up the front of the house where you first come in. So where you take off your shoes, hang up your gloves, and then we can go straight into the kitchen, which ends up having a huge center island. I wanted it to be rounded, but it just didn't quite look right. So I ended up changing it to more of a rectangle shape. And then these are honestly the best cabinets I can find to match these snow escape counters. And those cabinets and these chairs are both from the Dream Home Decorator pack. And then this room over here, I wanted to do like a library study, and as you can see, the bookshelves that I chose, I kind of wanted it to seem like the garden was leaking out of the greenhouse, and I think I captured that pretty well with those bookshelves. And I wanted the room to be pretty cozy, so I wanted to use tatami mats. And then I realized I forgot the appliances in the kitchen and wanted to make sure I did not forget those because I have before. And then I'm not really sure how familiar you guys are with the Japandi-style, but it's kind of like Japanese meets Scandinavian design. So think how Higa is living in balance with nature. Japan has a similar sort of tradition where they have this transitionary room called an engawa, which you can actually open the doors up really wide to let the breeze through on the hot summer days. And then I don't actually have one of those in this house, but I still wanted to incorporate a lot of nature inside of the house. So there's a ton of plants, and I also wanted to make sure that we had a sunroom facing the waterfall because I figured it would be nice to have sort of like a family space that's in between the elements where you can enjoy the snowfall, but from the comfort and warmth of inside. Moving right along upstairs, I decided that I wanted these bedrooms to be for the twins respectively, so I went ahead and gave them each their own top bunk and then a bottom toddler bunk that they can actually use and sleep in. But I went for more of like a blue, red, and yellow kind of color scheme with some black thrown in for Alistair's room, and then for Claire's room, I'm going for more of like a purpley blue green sort of color scheme. Even though I don't know what their favorite colors are going to be yet, I haven't rolled for them yet. So if it changes, I'll definitely change up the flavor of those rooms for them. But I went with like a red, black, and white color scheme for the bathroom since they're my vampire babies. So I figured we might as well go for the vibe in their bathroom. And then, like I said earlier, the upstairs gets an entire secondary living space with a TV, a couple of couches, and then I want to say I put a toddler tent in the corner by the window finally. And then I think there's a toy tub in the corner by the fireplace as well. So it's really like a child-oriented upstairs room for them to play in during the day that isn't their own. And then I think maybe it's just because I've always really liked to build like blanket forts. I've always been super cold, but I feel like layered rugs make anything just a lot more cozy feeling. And then for this outdoor patio, I snuck in a little chess table because I wanted to hide some skill building activities around the house without it being super noticeable, but there's still plenty of space to expand and put the lesser used kind of funky huge skill items as well. And then we have a final 2 bedrooms in the basement floor of the house, which I kind of imagine as like the teen bedrooms for my Occult Baby family, because we're gonna have a pretty odd balance of different life states in the house for a long time. Like right now we've got 3 toddlers and 1 child, but eventually it's gonna be a bunch of teens and all that kind of happy stuff. And I tried to put a bunch of fun stuff in the basement just so that we could maybe like host a party or 2 down here, because I'm pretty bad at having company over, and I think if I had a space to entertain that I might be more enticed to do so. And then in my floor plans, this actually ended up being like another secondary master bedroom. So this teen has a pretty lit bedroom that has a walk-in closet and it leads straight into the bathroom, which will lock from both sides, but it is accessible from both that bedroom and the greater living room downstairs as a whole. And this little laundry room is actually the last room that I fill inside of the house because I wanted to leave some space for both my own family to grow and you guys' families to grow. So I moved right along outside and I added a grill, a bar, and a little picnic table to the patio that I hope works the way I wanted to. I wanted to just be able to step into that pond. I actually ended up adding like koi fish and lily pads and fireflies and stuff like that before I realized that that stuff probably isn't really going to show up when the water freezes over up in the mountains. Which, speaking of, here we are up on the snowy lot, and I am finishing out the landscaping here because I really wanted to make sure that it blended in with its surroundings up in the snow. So I'm adding in like a bunch of big snowy rocks and snow drifts that have just kind of piled up around the house. But with the landscaping nearly complete, it is time that we hop into game and do the tour. So if you come through the front door, you have a place to take off your shoes, place them down, and then you can continue on. And then I'm actually going to take us into the master bedroom first. So we go through this beautiful painted door, and then you've got a nice cozy bed on a carpet, and then a walk-through closet that leads to this beautiful little baby blue bathroom. And then if we continue back out, we'll go into the main living space, which has the dining, living, and kitchen areas. And I'm actually going to take us through the kitchen and into the little 3 seasons room out here where you can just hang out, play with the kids. And then if we pop back inside, we've got the dining room table along with this gorgeous coffee table sitting on top of an island living rug. And then continuing on into the plant encrusted study, we hook into the apparently snowed in greenhouse, but that's all right. So we'll go head back inside and then we'll wrap back around through the front of the house and go upstairs first so we can check out the toddler bedrooms, and then we will do the downstairs last. When you first get to the top of the stairs, you enter into the secondary living room with the imagination play tent and then a big tub of toys in the corner. And then we will go ahead and zip right into the bathroom first for my little vampire babies. And then if we go back out, I'm not sure why the camera was moving so fast, but we have Claire's room in all of its blue, purple, and green glory, along with her private little patio. And then we'll head back over into Alistair's room, which ended up like a blue, gray, and black sort of color scheme. And oh my god, your closet's glitching out like crazy. What's that about? Now we'll just pop on downstairs where we have a huge karaoke machine, a Don't Wake the Llama table, an aquarium, and then we've got the laundry room down here in the basement for all of your clothing needs for your family. And then we will go into what will be Varix's room until I figure out what her favorite colors are when I roll them, when I remember. And then we actually have one more bedroom down here, which I don't have a kid to go in here specifically yet. I think maybe once Loki ages up, we'll move him down here with Varix since they seem to be getting along so well already. And he'll have one of the coolest rooms in the house, to be honest. I mean, swords and shields and a whole bathroom too. But as we move through the bathroom, that is actually the last of what is in here, so we can actually move out onto the patio and look outside at the beautiful frosty weather of our gorgeous little mountain home. And we've got a bar outside to enjoy yourself at, along with some paper lanterns. And then if we come across the pond, I'll go ahead and flip us around so that you guys can get a good view of the back of the house as well. But with that, that is the house in its entirety. So leave a like if you guys liked it, comment down below with something you'd like to see me build next, subscribe if you're new, and then as always guys, have a good day. I'll see you later.